Class is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am just getting things ready here for us. There's our screen. So hopefully you can hear my voice loud and clear, and you can see the screen that says why speakers fail, the 9 obstacles to speaking success and how you can overcome them. So if you see this big old boulder in the middle of the road and you can hear me nice, loud, and clear, please type in the question box. I want to make sure you guys have good audio and video, and this is all coming across the way that it should. And as we get started here, actually, if you wanted to invite a friend, just want to see if you want to get some social media marketing power here, 9obstacles.com. That's where to share on social media if you want to do that. The more the merrier. The more people that have this information in their toolkit, I think the better. Prosperity mindset. Let's make the financial struggle of speakers, consultants, coaches, and speaking-driven experts a thing of the past. And if you want to pop that out there, pop that on LinkedIn, pop that on Facebook, tell your friends where you are, what you're doing, have them hop on to our 9 Obstacles Masterclass by going to 9obstacles.com. And let me just check to see if we're okay. Everyone's saying yes. So Greg, Bert, Jim, Lee, Shell, fantastic. And Bert says, I shared it. I did it. So thank you for putting that out there, 9obstacles.com. All right, let's get right to it. My usual partner in crime, the awesome and amazing Teresa French, was going to be on with us, but she got pulled into some urgent client business, so we're going to let her do her urgent client business. And I'm flying solo here today, so this should be fun. All right, so let's start with who this is for. Just make sure you didn't wander into the wrong link and the wrong webinar masterclass. Today's content is for anyone who sells their expertise, knowledge, or wisdom. So what does that mean? That means speakers, consultants, trainers, coaches, experts, authors, course creators, information marketers, the folks that we lovingly call speaking-driven professionals. In other words, if you use your knowledge to solve a major business problem for your clients and audiences, this is for you. And let's get right to the meat. You know, I hate these webinars that start out, oh, I was born on a rural farm and woe is me, and you know, no one loved me growing up. I like to get right to the content. So obstacle number 1, here we go, top of the webinar. This is a grocery bag, and obstacle number 1 is being a grocery bag speaker or a grocery bag expert. Who knows what I mean by that? Type in the chat box if you know what I mean by a grocery bag speaker, grocery bag expert. Curious if folks have been paying attention to all my ranting and raving, or even if you're new to me, you're new to some of this training. What do you think grocery bag speaker means? Yeah, exactly right. Valda's saying do it all. Jane says all hat, no cattle trainers. Cynthia says somebody who speaks about every topic under the sun. Exactly right. You guys got it. Marcia got it. Steve got it. A little bit of everything. Exactly right. Carrie says generalist. And Carrie's great to have you here. Carrie's one of our Speaker Profit Formula mentoring clients, always sharpening the saw, right? The master is always the student. So it's great to see you here as well, Carrie. So exactly right. And I'll tell you how I know all of these 9 obstacles, by the way, is I hit every single one of them when I was coming up in my speaking career. So the first name of my company was 360 Philadelphia. And this is literally my first program sheet. 30 different workshops. 30 different workshops. The problem with the grocery bag, if you have every topic under the sun, right? Leadership, team building, innovation, creativity, marketing, sales, customer service, presentation skills, boat building, basket weaving. It undermines the credibility. Write this down somewhere. It undermines the credibility of what you're truly great at. It undermines the credibility of what you're truly great at. So you're burying the lead. You're making it very hard to hire you, because even if you're good at some of these things, you're going to be probably great at 2 or 3 of them. But right now, buyers can't tell. Our buyers, which is the most important person in this marketing and sales and business development equation, your buyers can't tell. So how do we fix this? Let's talk about, and we're going to talk about 9 obstacles, 9 solutions, 9 strategies, 9 things to think about, 9 things to look at in your own business to start making improvements immediately. The first improvement I would recommend to you is decide and define. Decide who you serve and be very clear in defining the problem that you solve. That's really important. Cross-check that with what are you already awesome at? What's the problem that you solve? And then how is your specific solution better, faster, cooler, or smarter than any other alternative or competitor? And here's where we start layering on things like articulation, things like distinction. You can start using language in your marketing conversations, in your sales conversations, that say things like, well, you know, unlike other leadership speakers, unlike other small business marketing speakers, unlike other career development speakers, what I focus on is value, outcome, result, fill in the blank for your business. So build that distinction language into how you talk about what you do. So the real key here is distinction. Second obstacle, no target, right? This is poor little guy here. He's totally blindfolded, shooting arrows left, right, and sideways. It is very hard to hit a target that you cannot see, my friends. So let's talk about how to fix action step number 2, no targeting. You have to decide, who do you really want to serve? Because we are in the privilege in the speaking, coaching, consulting, expert business. I want you to really think about this, really internalize this. We get to choose our clients. That is so important. I'm going to repeat that. I know it's a shocker. It's a news flash for some people. We get to choose our clients. We get to choose who we build relationships with. We get to choose who we reach out to. We get to choose who we have prospecting conversations with. It is not a reactive, let's see what falls out of the sky. Let's see what comes out of the blue. You never know who's going to call. You never know where your next lead is coming from. Those people are not running a business. Those people are what I call freelancers. They're freelancers. They're not speaking-driven entrepreneurs. A speaking-driven entrepreneur targets and specifies and connects with an exact audience that you know who they are, you know where they live, you know what they want, and you know what's important to them. You know what outcomes they're trying to create. You know what results they're trying to achieve. So it is hard to hit a target that you cannot see. When you're marketing to anyone and everyone, that really means you're marketing to no one. So let me stop right here. We'll do a little truth checking. Guilty as charged. I'm raising my hand in case you guys can't see that. And of course you can't see it because all you're seeing is my slides. If you've done this, where it's been totally reactive, you're trying to boil the ocean, you're trying to market to everyone, just type in the word ocean. Type in the word ocean. If you, like me in the early days, we're saying, hey, any warm body with a check, you know, I teach leadership. Everybody needs leadership. I teach sales. Everybody needs sales. I teach strategy. I teach innovation. Everybody needs strategy. Everybody needs innovation. I want to see how many people were lost in the ocean like I was. We have any other ocean swimmers here besides me? Ocean, 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 ocean. So thank you for being honest, guys. This is great. So Valda, Lou, Steve, Latina, Brad. Steve says, been in the ocean during Shark Week. I love that. Been in the ocean during Shark Week. Me too, my brother. Me too. Absolutely. Lou says ocean. Yeah, exactly. You guys got it. So this is not a place where you want to stay. This is not a place where you want to stay. And it's easily fixed by making some good, strong, foundational decisions about your business. The key to making this decision, because that's, of course, the next question. Well, David, how do I make this decision? Tell me where you want to focus. Tell me about the exact problems that you solve with a sense of specificity, so even the messaging calls out to a certain target market. And then most important, let's connect your focus and the specificity that you're trying to engender with relevance, meaning that you already have some research, you already have some data, that your target market, your prospect, in other words, that you're reaching out to in this campaign, they already understand they have this problem. They get it, that they have the problem. They need a solution, and they want to solve it with some urgency. So I've referred to this in the past as the GNW factor. The GNW, get it, need it, want it. Because you never want to be in a position where you're selling someone on the fact they have a problem and then making a second sale that you have the solution. Have you ever had that feeling where you're just hitting your head against the brick wall and saying, no, you guys really have this problem, and this is a bad problem, and I can fix your problem? And they're looking at you and saying, dude, dudette, we don't see the problem. So now you're trying to make 2 sales. And I'll tell you, folks, it's challenging enough to make 1 sale. You do not want to be in a business where you have to make 2 sales, and you have to convince them they have a problem, and then you have to convince them again that you're the one with the solution. Makes life twice as hard. We don't want your life to be twice as hard. We want your life to be twice as easy. Third problem, number 3. 3 out of 9. Are we cruising through here? Are we cruising through here? I want to get to the meat fast and hard right away, right at the top, so we don't waste any time today. Obstacle number 3 is NSA. NSA, of course, does not mean our dear friends in the National Speakers Association, so trust me, NSA is not an obstacle. This means no sales ability. No sales ability or no selling ability. And you're sitting there going, you know what? I've got great programs. I'm a great coach. I'm a great speaker. I'm a great workshop leader. I'm a great facilitator. My clients love me. I just can't get traction with any new prospects. I'm invisible to my target market. When I call, it's like I'm a vendor. And I hate that word, guys. Oh my gosh. The word vendor is like a 4-letter word to me. When they treat you like a vendor or a peddler instead of a trusted advisor, that means that there is something majorly wrong with your sales process. We teach and mentor a trusted advisor type of sales process and sales positioning. So if you're asking yourself, man, my clients love me, but I can't get traction with any new prospects, what am I doing wrong? It's probably something to do with your sales approach, your sales messaging, your sales languaging, or your sales strategy. And I'll tell you, I've got a firsthand experience of this because I spent 12 months as a conference producer and a meeting planner, and I sat in the buyer's chair. So I've been on the receiving end of these marketing and sales messages and these prospecting outreaches. I hired over 160 speakers and experts and all kinds of people, consultants, employment law attorneys, all kinds of people. I hired them into virtual events, live conferences, seminars, boot camps, retreats. We hired people into 4 different categories, 4 different topic categories. So I was responsible for an entire curriculum of HR, an entire curriculum of safety, experts and speakers and consultants, an entire curriculum of finance, speakers, experts, consultants, and a whole sales training operation where we hired a whole bunch of sales experts, trainers, consultants, etc. Immediately, within 2 weeks of sitting in that buyer's chair, as the buyer, I knew what worked and what didn't, and I could see all the crazy stuff that I was doing wrong as a speaker that was totally falling on deaf ears, totally coming in sideways, so much so that back in 2008, which I can't believe was already 10 years ago now, but in 2008, I put together a program for the National Speakers Association called Help Me Hire You. Help Me Hire You, which is the 21 things that I learned sitting on the buyer's side of the equation as speakers and coaches and consultants were pitching me to get paid and get hired by my company. and I did that role for about a year. I then left that role in 2008, and then totally revamped everything I was doing in my own speaking and training business because I had spent a year being a buyer. So I'm trying to share some of those insights with you guys right now. Action step number 3, for heaven's sakes, understand your buyers. Buyer persona research is really critical. Buyer persona is simply a big fancy marketing term for the people that buy your stuff. The persona, the traits, the values, the perspectives, the opinions, the characteristics of those people. What do they resonate with? What are they repelled by? What is attractive and effective when you speak to them? And what is not attractive and ineffective, right? So you need to understand how they think. You need to understand how they buy. What do they really want? What do they really need? What are they interested in solving? And then most importantly, when we get back to that articulation and distinction piece from strategy number 1, how do they talk about the problem? And Carrie knows this, and Bob knows this, and all of our mentoring alumni who are on this webinar know this. The right language is client language. When a client uses the language to describe the problem that they have, that you're already brilliant at solving, you need to adopt, clone, and duplicate that exact language. No buzzwords, no jargon, no consultant speak. So let me ask you right now, guys, if I went to your website, and be brutally honest here, self-assessment's a beautiful thing. If I went to your website, I look at your one sheet, I look at your service page, I look at your about page, will I see, is there a chance, no matter how small, that I will run into some consultant speak, some buzzwords, or some jargon? And if that might be the case with you, just type in the word guilty. Guilty as charged, Your Honor. I think there may be some consultant speak, there may be some jargon, there may be some buzzwords on my website that after today's webinar, you're now going to go back, do some buyer persona research, figure out what language your buyers are using to describe that problem or those pains, problems, challenges, gaps, and you're going to change that language. If you're saying guilty, 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 which I'm seeing here in the chat window, you're going to go back. You are going to fix those problems. You're going to fix those problems. So let's just see, how many guilty folks do we have here? We got some guilty. We got some Jim, Steve, Lou, Latina. Yeah, exactly. Guilty, guilty, guilty with lots of exclamation points. Guilty as charged, says Steve. Easy to fix. And people say, oh, I'm afraid of using buyer language. I'm afraid of using kind of conversational vernacular language. Never be afraid of using conversational vernacular language, ever, because that's what's going to resonate with them. Also, when you're doing this kind of languaging, what's the emotional payoff to solving this problem? Because the magic key here, folks, is learning to speak prospect language about prospect problems. Once you dial that in, every sales conversation becomes easier. You're going to sell more speaking, sell more consulting, sell more coaching, sell more facilitation, sell more of all of your back-end professional services, because somebody who is known as articulate in describing the problem, the assumption is, the halo effect of that is, that you must be brilliant at offering the solution. You must be brilliant at solving that problem if you can talk about it so viscerally, so clearly, and so accurately. So here's some statistics just to give you some hope here about the 9 obstacles and why speakers fail. The speaking business is doing great. Speaking is thriving. There's 18 million business meetings a year, 7,500 business meetings every single day. What that means is there were 7,500 business meetings yesterday across the country where you and I could have spoken. There's 7,500 more happening today where you and I could be speaking. And there's 7,500 more tomorrow and every day of the year. 7,500 opportunities are out there. The speaking and conference and meetings industry is a $280 billion industry. It is growing, unlike some market sectors. It's about 5% annual growth rate. All of this sounds very positive. All of this sounds very optimistic. But the question for you is that turning into great clients and a healthy speaking business and money in your pocket? Unfortunately, for most speakers, the answer is no, because they're not doing these 9 things and they're hitting these 9 obstacles that we're talking about today. So why speakers fail? Let me share some startling statistics with you. Less than 6% of speakers earn $100,000 a year. Less than 2% of speakers and speaking-driven entrepreneurs earn $1 million a year. 50%, this is based on National Speakers Association research back from 2015, so it's a couple years old, but I think it's still relevant. 50% of speakers earn less than $50,000 a year. When you look at industries like coaching, it gets even worse. 50% of coaches earn less than $25,000 a year, if you can believe that. So here's what happened. With all these economic downturns, recessions, terrorism, you name it, 2001, 2008, 2011, those were some critical inflection points, of course. There was a flood of unemployed people, unemployed executives flooding the entrepreneur market. They went to Kinko's, they printed up business cards, they said, hey, look, I'm a consultant. Hey, look, I'm a speaker. Hey, look, I'm a coach. And we flooded the market with wave after wave of amateurs. When you have a lot of amateurs in the marketplace, too many of those amateur speakers speak for free. Too many free speakers then skew the market, because that starts to impact the buyers. That starts to impact the clients who are now expecting a new speaker or an emerging speaker to speak for free, because they had a whole line of other new speakers speak for free as well. Skewed marketplace leads to skewed strategies, and now everyone thinks they have to speak for free. And everyone thinks incorrectly, as you saw in the previous slide, incorrectly thinking that nobody pays speakers and this is just a hobby and I cannot make money with this, and that's the cycle of crazy. So we want to break the cycle of crazy for you guys. Here's how it gets worse. These numbers typically do not improve. So generally speaking, people don't grow their business. What we see is a lot of stagnation and a lot of backward sliding. Here's how I know this. We ask people about their revenue goals. So when we're having exploratory conversations or strategy calls or breakthrough sessions with our prospects and clients, we ask about their revenue goals. We pulled 40 applications and we followed up with 40 different people who said, well, here's my business. I'm making 80 grand. I'm making 150 grand. I'm making 200 grand. I'm making 60 grand, whatever it was. I want you to guess right now in the question box. Guess how many people improved their numbers and were better off financially. These are 40 folks that decided not to do our program, or we decided not to invite them in. For some reason, it wasn't a fit. And so on their own steam, leaving them to their own market forces and their own initiative, how many of those 40 people, a few months after we spoke to them, do you think had any significant uptick in their business and were better off in any way, shape, or form? And we'll take some number guesses here. Out of the 40, how many said, oh, dude, I'm crushing it now. I was making 60 grand a year. Now I'm making 150. I was making 80 grand. And now I'm on track to have a $300,000 a year. How many folks had any kind of improvement, do you think? So Brad says 2, Steve says none of the above, Bert says 0, Jim says 8. Cynthia's very optimistic. All of them. Well, I'll tell you, not to be negative or pessimistic, the answer is actually 0. They were either exactly where they were before, or they had slid backwards. Because typically these kind of problems that we're talking about, lack of a sales process, lack of articulation, lack of distinction, lack of a target market, they don't fix themselves. Does that make sense, you guys? That these problems unaddressed, just by inertia, by you doing nothing to fix these problems, your business is going to shrink. It's not going to stay the same. It's not going to stay afloat. It's going to shrink and start to slide backwards. because these problems don't solve themselves. So here's 6 killer trends that you need to know about. And I guess this is sort of the undertow in the ocean that, may be under the surface, but very, very important. The first trend is pay to play, meaning vendors who speak. By the way, vendors who speak, that means that keynote spot, those breakout sessions, people were not paid to come in and speak. They paid for the privilege of addressing that audience. And you'll see this in some tech conferences. You'll see this in some what they call hosted buyer type conferences where people are paying $10, $15, $20, $25,000 for their VP to come and speak, for the vendors to come and speak, for the trade show booth people to come and speak. It's another marketing opportunity. It's no longer an education opportunity. Second thing is industry speakers. So CEOs, presidents, brand managers, corporate executives, speaking is just part of their job. They don't need to get paid to speak. They just speak because they want to kind of wave the company banner. And so that is a competing force. That's causing some downward price pressure. Way more noise, way more competition, way more confusion in the speaker marketplace. We talked about that with the flood of amateurs and so forth. Downward price pressure at every level. I want to stop here and I want this to sink in for you guys. Let's say that you're a $10,000 speaker. If you're a $10,000 speaker, you might think your competition is other $10,000 speakers. The problem is that's not your competition. Your competition is the $15,000 speaker who's willing to do it for 10. It's the same thing at every level. If you're a $5,000 speaker, your competition is not other $5,000 speakers. It's the $10,000 speaker who's willing to do it for 5. Why? Because they have no sense of value. They cave on price. They are willing to negotiate anytime, anywhere, any fee. Any gig is a good gig. And it's like shark bait, right? It's like bloody chum in the water that everyone's trying to go after a shrinking pie. So number 5, a lot of folks that we talk to say, David, I'm really, really good. Man, I get up there and I get all 10s on my evaluation forms and, I'm the king of my Toastmasters club. I say, great. But the problem with that is being good on stage. That's table stakes. That's the cost of entry, my friends. That is not the magic key to unlock your marketing and sales engine. And then the last trend is that buyers, meeting planners, conference producers, association executives are busier and pickier than ever before. So they are crazy busy. They've got a lot on their plate. You have 2 seconds to 10 seconds to come across their radar with a LinkedIn message, with a referral, with an introduction, with an email, with a voicemail. Otherwise, they shut you down, delete, voicemail goes into a black hole, they never call you back, it's over. So you have to have something that stands out, immediately valuable, client and buyer-centric messaging, all about them, not about you and how great you are and your book and your website and your videos and all that crap. It needs to be about them, their members, their employees, their team, their event, their conference, their problems. If your messaging is aimed at that, they will listen. They will stop. They will listen. They will pay attention. They may even call you back. Obstacle number 4 is outdated advice, greedy gurus, and clueless peer opinions about what works. So let's talk about that. Somebody is out there teaching and training speakers that here's how he came up in the world. And this, of course, is a de facto recommendation of how you should come up in the world if you're an emerging speaker or even a mid-career speaker. His advice was speak anywhere, anytime for any fee. And he showed us his calendar. His calendar's his 2013 calendar. He did 8 gigs, most of which were free, for a grand total 2013 revenue of $2,500. He then showed us his 2014 calendar and said he did 84 gigs, most of which were free, for a grand total of $42,000 of total income in 2014. Now, this is someone who's out there teaching speakers and experts and consultants to underprice, lowball themselves, speak everywhere, anywhere, for any size group at any fee. And he says that's the path to success. I'm telling you, my friends, thank God no one told our clients that this is the recipe for success. This is a long, slow, ineffective, hard, painful way to do it. It's a slog up the mountain carrying 2 boulders in your backpack. You do not want to do it this way. This is just dumb, backwards, broken advice. Second example of greedy gurus and misguided advice. This is a column from Forbes.com. And I'm not going to name this person. He's a famous presentation skills coach, famous speaker. But I will tell you, he's giving deadly, toxic, dangerous advice. Look at this. I've underlined the red parts here. Speaking is not a profession, it's an activity. Begin with the idea, the passion, the craft, the expertise. Then you have to write your book. Then you have to give a whole bunch of free speeches. Then you have to create some kind of community, whatever that means. Then you have to blog your brains out. Then you have to create your platform of fans and fellow believers. And once you've got all that down, the invitations to speak for money will come by magic. I don't know, magic, osmosis, rubbing the magic lamp. Maybe Aladdin's going to come out, maybe. I'll tell you, my friends, this is complete upside down, backwards BS advice. The reason this makes me so mad is because the same person, I'm not going to say who it is, you can research it on your own, who's got the speaking column on Forbes.com. You can find this article. This guy's a $15,000 keynote speaker. Trust me, this guy is out there proactively hunting and farming and fishing for business every single day. For some reason, he says you shouldn't. He says, speaking is not a profession. Just, let it unfold naturally, dude. Chill out, man. Cool off. Do all this other busy work, and then somehow, somewhere, magically, these speaking opportunities will come to you. I'll tell you, my friends, if you're following this kind of advice, no wonder life is hard for you. No wonder things are not clicking the way that they should. I'm curious if this kind of advice makes you mad. This really gets my goat. If this kind of advice that you see out there, and maybe you've seen other pieces of kind of misguided, upside down, backwards, funky advice, type in mad in the question box. I hope I'm not just having some personal anger issues, but this to me is professional malpractice. If this makes you mad also, type in mad in the question box. We're going to have a mad club. We're having a mad club right now. Who's mad at the crazy upside down, backwards advice that so many of these gurus and charlatans and hucksters are peddling out there? Because this is toxic poison. This right here that I've underlined in red is toxic poison. Not that I feel strongly about this. All right. A lot of people are mad. A lot of people are mad. Steve, Lou, Bert, Darius, Brad, Mary, Jim, Valda, Carrie. Yeah, exactly. Holy smokes. Holy cow. Exactly. You got it. You got it. All right. Now, here's your marketing to-do list, again, in the category of crazy, broken, upside down advice. You have to blog, tweet, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, do a lot of networking, go to trade shows, get a lot of media, get yourself on TV, radio, do public relations, get referrals, postcards, cold calls, free speaking, webinars, YouTube, articles. You have to write a book, of course, host a lot of podcasts, do a ton of interviews, make sure your search engine optimization works, do mobile text messaging, make sure to build up your list, radio, TV, infographics, ebooks, Facebook ads, video series, live streaming, online groups, and this is why marketing is exhausting. This is why when you look at a speaker marketing game plan, you throw up your hands and you go, really? Really? This is how I should be filling my days? And the answer is no. This is not how you should be filling your days. How should you fill your days? Action step number 4, choose a few proven marketing tactics that you find easy, effortless, and enjoyable. Take a nice deep yogic breath. Let's just do good air in, bad air out. I want you to play only to your strengths, my friends. Commit to 1 or 2 main dishes, not 10, and drop everything else. If it doesn't serve you, if it's exhausting, if it goes against what you feel is organic and natural and comfortable, don't do it. Don't do it, because it's never gonna work. So let's talk about what the thriving 6% do. The 6% who are really making it, what do they know, do, and have that you don't? They have 7 things. If everything is working well, it's strategy, packaging, focus, prospects, outreach, sales, and leverage. And if you have all those things lined up, you end up with success. If you're missing even one of these blocks, you're going to end up with the result in the right-hand side column. So some of you guys have seen me work through this before, but I'll do it again for the sake of the new folks here. If you're missing strategy, that ends up being tacticitis. See in the last column it says tacticitis under the red arrow. So tacticitis is doing tactic after tactic after tactic. Problem with that is random tactics lead to random results. If the packaging piece is missing, I call this same-o-lame-o syndrome, or you're a commodity. No one knows how you're better, cooler, faster, smarter, going back to strategy number 2 that we talked about here today. No focus, and you're a squirrel, right? Attention deficit disorder as an entrepreneur, you're not focused on your topic, you're not focused on your target market, you're not focused on the marketing tasks at hand, easily distracted by what looks like opportunities and are really distractions. Without a clear prospecting plan, you're a pinball. You're pinballing all around. One day you're with the accountants, the next day you're with the lunch ladies, the next day you're with the plumbers. The problem is that the lunch ladies don't talk to the accountants don't talk to the plumbers. It's very hard to get any kind of traction if you're pinballing from one prospect base to another. No outreach, and you are best kept secret. You're a best kept secret syndrome, as we call it. Without having the sales dialed in correctly, you're slowly going broke, like I was in the first 3 years of my business. We mentioned that a moment ago, that left untended, these problems do not get better with time. They get worse, and things start to decline, and things start to get worse and worse. And then without leverage, without building leverage strategies, whether that's licensing or sponsorship or certifications or an online course or some kind of leverage mechanism, you risk burnout. You risk burnout. So you're on the gig-to-gig hamster wheel, and you're tying 100% of your hours to 100% of your revenue if the leverage piece is missing. So understanding that those are the common problems, these 7 problems, I'd love you to type in the question box just so we can frame out the rest of our time together today. Which one of these is your most familiar friend? Is it tacticitis, commodity, squirrel, pinball? BKS stands for best kept secret. Slow broke is slowly going broke, like I was my first 3 years in the business. Or burnout, which means lack of leverage. And type in whatever that is, whatever the main challenge is in the question box. If you have more than one, feel free to put more than one. People are already putting in squirrel and pinball, commodity, squirrel, and BKS. Pinball mostly, squirrel, slowly going broke. I'm not going to name names on this one. We'll keep this confidential so you're not afraid to share. We're not going to call people on the carpet necessarily. All of the above, yeah, all 7. There's another one, all 7. Tacticitis, commodity, and squirrel. Yeah, so some of these are definitely hitting home. Some of these are definitely hitting home. We want you to have all 7 of these dialed in. If we had a conversation with you about where your business is and where you'd like your business to go, after that conversation, my team and I could tell which one of these pieces is missing. And here's what's interesting, guys. All the people that we've talked to, most people are missing more than one. It's not like, oh, we're just missing this one piece and then all the rest kind of clicks into place. People are missing 2 or 3 or even sometimes 4 of these, and that's manifesting itself, and that's showing up in all kinds of ways. Problems getting prospects' attention, problem getting a first appointment, problem getting a second appointment, problem following up, problem negotiating, that's a value problem or a sales process problem, problem closing the deal, right? Also could be a value problem or a self-esteem problem or a self-worth problem. All kinds of challenges surface when we really diagnose what's going on here and we really look at how you can fix it. So let's look at strategy first. Obstacle number 5 is not having a strategy and not having a strategic insight into your business model, your service model, and your revenue model. If you don't know what you're building, think about it like a sales and marketing machine. If you don't know what the machine looks like, it's very hard to put the pieces together. Our clients coming out the other end of our program end up with a repeatable, reliable, tactical process that generates a predictable flow of clients and cash. And we talk about this on our mentoring calls. We say, once you get this dialed in, it's pretty boring. Marketing is not exciting. If you're doing some new stuff with your marketing all the time, you're probably not doing it right. A healthy marketing, sales, lead generation, and sales process is fairly routine. It is fairly rote. It is fairly boring. If you're making money, you are probably bored with the money-making activity that you're doing because it's consistent, because it's the same day after day, week after week, to generate quality conversations, connect with relevant prospects, invite them to a conversation on how you can help them, and close the deal. To get more keynotes, training, seminars, workshops, coaching, consulting, whatever it is that you do. Let's look at packaging next. Obstacle number 6 is thinking of yourself only as a speaker. You are not a professional speaker, my friends. I'm officially christening you right now, you're a professional problem solver. And once you make that switch from professional speaker to professional problem solver, it is going to become a whole lot easier to command $5,000, $10,000, even $15,000 fees for the work that you do. You'll be positioned as the obvious choice for premium clients, not for the broke-ass losers, not for the groups that only have 2 nickels to rub together, but the premium choice. And those clients are expecting to pay premium fees for the kinds of results that you deliver. Because remember, you're no longer delivering a speech or a seminar or a training day, you are delivering an outcome. And you will build a consistent $15,000 to $30,000 a month or more speaking-driven business once you make that switch away from professional speaker and towards professional problem solver. So our client, Tony Lucero, had a firsthand experience with this. Long story short, I picked up 2 coaching clients totaling $32,400, and I'm on retainer for 90 days at $10,000 per month with the company. Not bad. The reason I'm telling you this is not to boast, but it's doing the activity that David outlines and focus on what I wanted to attract in my business that allowed the doors to be open. Stay the course, do the work, and know your target market. Look at that. Know your target market. So Tony was a fantastic speaker coming into the program. He just never thought of himself as a problem solver until we started to expand his investable opportunities. And this resulted in, as you can see here, $32,400, 3 months at $10,000 a month, $62,400 of new business just by expanding his role away from professional speaker to include professional problem solver. And he says here at the bottom of the slide, your program, David, made this possible. I always throw it back on Tony that, dude, you did the work, so you made it possible, but we were at least able to open the door. Now let's look at prospecting. And this is obstacle number 7 is small potatoes. And I've measured 3 potatoes here for your benefit. There's a large potato, a medium potato, and a small potato. We want to get you guys out of small potatoes thinking and small potatoes doing. So here's the soundbite. Write this down. Please write this down somewhere. Nobody will value your expertise more highly than you do. I'm going to repeat that. I want this to be profoundly inserted between your ears right here, right now, today. Nobody is going to value your expertise more highly than you. So it is very important that you let go of small potatoes thinking, imposter syndrome, spray and pray marketing, outreach reluctance. All of these things are manifestations of small potatoes thinking, undervaluing, undercharging, and under-earning for the expertise that is incredibly valuable that you have for your clients. But you have to stop. You have to stop with the small potatoes. You really, really do. You have to stop saying nonsensical statements like, well, I'm just getting my name out there. I'm just getting started. Or I've been doing good work with this kind of client and I don't want to go upstream and I'm comfortable getting paid peanuts for my work. And no, guys, you have to be very uncomfortable getting paid peanuts. And if you're not getting the fees that you want from your prospects, I would challenge you, you're not talking to the right prospects. You are playing it safe by playing it small. Let me repeat that. You are playing it safe by playing it small. And you do not want to do that. Here's a definition of a prospect. They own the problem that you solve. They have a need and a desire and a budget to solve the problem. So there's relevance, there's urgency, and they have the ability to pay. And if they don't have your fee, they're not a prospect. You immediately disqualify them, refocus all your sales activities on the folks that do have a high degree of relevance, a high degree of urgency, and the ability to pay you for your brilliance and to pay you for your results. Action step number 7, if I had my career to do over again, man, oh man, I wish I had this advice early on. Even as a mid-career speaker, I wish I had this advice earlier on. Aim higher sooner. Aim higher sooner. There's nothing to stop you from aiming for the top. Typically speaking, national and state associations and conferences have a fee. Generally speaking, the small potatoes, kind of local yokel stuff that we sometimes get pulled into, that's where a lot of the free speaking happens. Don't spend nearly as much time on the bottom of the pyramid and spend a lot more time focused on building relationships and opening doors at the top of the pyramid, especially in the association market. I've put some logos up here. If you haven't fully tapped in to the professional and trade association market, you are missing a huge opportunity, because there are associations for every single profession under the sun, some that you've never even heard of, never even thought of. So I put up here the logo for APAWS, which is actually the National Pooper Scooper Association. In case that print is too small around the outside of that logo, these are pooper scooper companies that come to your house and pick up dog poop off your lawn. And they have an association, and that association has meetings. It's the Association of Professional Animal Waste Specialists. That's right, my friends. The pooper scooper people have meetings, and you're not speaking there today, and neither am I. So the Association of Professional Animal Waste Specialists, that's the name of the Pooper Scooper Association. So trust me, if there's an association for them, there's an association for your target market, and probably a dozen or more associations for your target market. Once you get this prospecting dialed in, you'll have results like John Garrett, who came through our program. He says, David's program is easily the best return on investment a recovering CPA could dream of. He breaks things down into a simple process with actionable steps, so I was able to sell more speaking engagements to better clients, right? Underline better clients, and at consistently higher fees, to the point of an 85% increase in income from last year. I booked a $5,500 gig within 5 weeks of starting the program. So that's John Garrett, coming from johngcomedy.com. So you can get the wrong conversation with the wrong prospects and get a lot of the fee resistance and the BS and the nonsense at any fee level, whether you're a beginning speaker, mid-career speaker, seasoned advanced speaker. John came in as a mid-career speaker, already successful, but having a hard time breaking out of that $2,000, $3,000 price point. So we actually doubled his fee, and now actually since this testimonial, he's actually more in the $7,500 price range. He's gotten a few gigs at 10. But all of that comes over time, my friends. So first you got to walk, then you got to run, then you got to fly. But this is a major, major upgrade, 85% increase in income year over year after implementing the strategies that we worked on together. Obstacle number 8 is same-o, lame-o. We talked about this when you're missing that packaging piece out of the 7 columns. Same-o, lame-o, you sound the same, you look the same, you act the same as every other speaker or expert that does what you do. No specificity, no relevance, no urgency. In essence, you're hedging your bets. If you're hedging your bets, you're never going to win the game. So how do you fix that? Let's talk about how to fix it. Here's some action steps to solve number 8. I want you to go back to your entire career history, all of your expertise, all of your experience, and you want to look for unique overlaps. Unique overlaps of things like your background, where you came from, your history, your particular strengths, your expertise, your experience, any previous jobs, even previous careers. Have the right names to drop, have the right stories to tell so that you become one of a kind. Do not compete as a commodity. Compete on all of the different puzzle pieces that you bring to the table, where you say, hey, 1 + 1 + 1 = 10, right? I've had careers in leadership, sales, and marketing, so I can, this is not me, by the way, but if you had leadership, sales, and marketing, you can say, I operate at the intersection of. That's a power phrase right there, guys. Write that down somewhere. I operate at the intersection of background A, expertise B, and experience C. That is a power phrase. That is a power statement. And then that puts you in a category of 1, where you're no longer just a leadership speaker. You're no longer just a marketing speaker. You're no longer just a banking speaker or a construction speaker or a healthcare speaker. You are now a category of 1 that, because of where you've been and what you've seen and what you've done, you are now the speaker to hire. You are now the obvious choice because you bring together 1 + 1 + 1 = 10. So think about that. This is truly your low-hanging fruit to your distinction, low-hanging fruit hiding in plain sight. Too often we take our own background, our own experiences, our own previous jobs and careers, and we take it on as baggage. And we go, oh, I got to hide this. I got to hide that I had a 20-year career in leadership. I got to hide that I spent 15 years as a VP of HR. I have to hide the fact that I come out of the construction industry, instead of taking what those perceived weaknesses might be and combining them and overlapping them into your superpower. That's what you can now start to do. And that immediately decommoditizes you. That immediately solves obstacle number 8, because you're now no longer a same-o, lame-o commodity. Let's look at sales next. Obstacle number 9. Obstacle number 9, this is kind of a minimum wage fee chart that I pulled out of our National Speakers Association research. And I'm going to ask you to ignore the left-hand side column and look at this more holistically as a range. But if you're charging, even as a brand new speaker, and I want you to ignore the timeline there on the left, but even as a brand new speaker, if you're not ignoring the timeline, $3,820, that's like a minimum wage fee, right? You want to be higher than that, better than that, if you want to be perceived as a professional. Even if you've been in this for a year or two, you should be getting $5,500 fees, plus. And then it goes all the way up to $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, where most of our speakers, whether they've been paid a little or some or a lot, this is where we start them out. And if your fee is above this, that's great. God bless you. You probably haven't raised your fee in quite a while, and we would look at raising your fee from 8K to 10K, 10K to 14K, 14 or 15, up to 18, which we've done with client after client after client. And we really work with folks at every level of the spectrum, by the way. So this experience that I'm sharing with you and this advice I'm sharing with you, we have worked with emerging, fairly new speakers from fresh off the boat to 1 or 2 years in, mid-career speakers who are in this for 3 to 10 years, and some very seasoned expert speakers who are 10, 15, 20, 30-year veterans of the speaking profession. Members of the National Speakers Association Hall of Fame have come into our program and immediately elevated, escalated, refreshed, and rebooted their career, because this is an ongoing process. It doesn't matter if you're at level 1 or level 2 or level 3, there's always a next level that you need to be playing at. And when you elevate and escalate your fee, you also elevate and escalate your expertise. This is not even about what you need to earn. Will you earn more money? Of course you'll earn more money if you follow my advice on this. but it's about what they need to pay to take you seriously as a professional problem solver. So we have sales success story after sales success story. I could do an entire webinar on just our sales success stories. Don't worry, I won't. We're going to cycle through here and then get to our Q&A here in a couple of minutes. But I do want to share with you, I want to brag on some client successes here. I had to run some numbers for my financial planner. We had gross revenue of 106K over the past 6 months. That's more than I've ever made anywhere in any 6-month period. So this person's on track for a 200K plus year. Another thanks. Have a great weekend. Just got another gig for $12,500 for a day. I'm steadily raising my fees and so far getting it. Still not getting as many as I want, but I'm getting more for the ones I'm getting. So I'm happy with my progress. Hey, how's that 30K gig coming along? Did that close? Yes, it's coming up in 2 weeks. Because of David and Teresa, I now have a system to contact qualified leads. My sales proposition is what they're looking for, and I'm booking clients. And then Teresa just replied, we make a great team. You drove, we played the voice of the GPS. So glad to hear things are rocking in your world. Another one, let's tally the nudge from Newman numbers. 3 new clients, almost 20K in income up front, and a clear path towards only doing one-to-many group coaching for high fees. Hard to put a price on the increase in clarity, excitement, and vision for my future, but let's just say I haven't slept in almost 3 weeks because my brain is too excited about the possibilities. And then I must tell you, because of so much I learned from you, I broke the 6-figure mark already this year. It's not even October. Thank you. Your teaching works. Thanks for everything. Getting back on track. Booked $33,000 in the past 3 weeks. That's like $11,000 a week. That's kind of crazy. Love that. Yes, please. I've been using the great stuff in your speaker marketing workshop. Booked 2 $5,000 speeches this week. Thanks, David. Proof that it's always best to get on the phone to discuss possibilities and go into the conversation with a confident I can help you mindset. My client call ended up in a full fee booking for February, $7,500. Boom, easy done. I love this stuff. And then here we have a $60,000 to $70,000 contract in less than a week of sales cycle to boot. I have a handshake and a verbal agreement from the CEO and his executives. We have the first event scheduled. I'm just formalizing the contract and sending them the paperwork today. And then this one just came in last week. I completed the marketing language bank for one side of my business, and later that week had the words on hand during a sales call to land an ideal client for a 2-day gig at $20,000 when previously I would have charged $8K. So she's moving from a $4,000 per day to a $10,000 per day, and that's just a small sample. Once you get the sales process dialed in, we see these kinds of results every single week with our clients. So here's a fee reality check. Are you tired of undercharging and under-earning, even if you're a seasoned pro? Here's the deal, folks. Fees are a filter for your best clients. Fees are a filter for also who they look at and who they want to hire. Premium clients expect to pay premium fees. It's not about what you need to earn. I talked about this a second ago. It's about what they need to pay to take you seriously. Is that money conversation making sense? Type in the word money in the chat window. I want to take a break here. I want to take a little water drink, and then we'll wrap up. We'll do our big Q&A here at the end. But if this financial piece is resonating with you, type the word money in the chat window. I'm wondering if this is landing or if this is making sense for you guys. I will just continue drinking until we have a quorum here. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going nuts here. Carrie's on board. Brandon, Forrest, Steve, Lou, Latina, Bert, Lee, Darius. Money. Oh yes, makes perfect sense. Money, money, money. Lots of dollar signs on that one from Steve. Lots of exclamation points from Forrest. Yeah, good, excellent. So here's where the money comes from. Here's where the money comes from. Multiple profit centers feed multiple revenue streams, right? So speaking anywhere from, I mentioned that minimum wage, $5,000, $6,000, all the way up to $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. If that's, if you've got the marketing and the infrastructure to support that fee, that's great. Same exact thing with training. Coaching can be anywhere from $6,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month. Consulting fees typically run anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 a month or a whole lot more. licensing your intellectual property. We've had clients come through our program and do licensing deals for $75,000, $100,000 easy. Sponsorship, we've had clients do $200,000 and $300,000 sponsorships. I've got one client right now who is about to close the deal on a $375,000 gig. Big, juicy, multi-phase contract. This is all possible once you have these strategies dialed in. Possible and probable. Obstacle number 10, and I'm guilty of this one as well, I'm giving you a bonus obstacle here, is the lone wolf. The lone wolf. Thinking you can do this all on your own, and that's how I was early on. Everyone should have a mentor. Mentoring brings you new ideas and accountability and real-world objective advice. It's your GPS, your compass, your roadmap. It helps you gain speed. It helps you shorten the path, avoid potholes, remove obstacles, guide your action steps, answer your questions. It is the straightest, shortest line to outcomes and results. A good mentor is going to give you great ideas and make sure you act on them. And a great mentor will also put together a powerful group of people all working towards similar goals. And this is always a force multiplier. In our own mentoring program, there are people earning $3,000 a month, working right alongside people earning $30,000 a month and more. And because of that interchange and because of that chemistry, everyone wins. So here's how I break down our system. I want to give you a little quick summary here, and then we'll wrap it up, then we'll hit our Q&A to answer all your questions. The strategy, packaging, and focus is the work that you do internally. This is where we talk about your messaging, your packaging, your articulation, your distinction, your indisputable points of proof, all of your marketing language bank comes out of here, the way that you articulate your fabulousness, that it's buyer language, talking about prospect problems. Then, and only then, once that's dialed in, we now do some marketplace-facing activities, prospecting, outreach, and sales. That's where you have contact with the marketplace. Initial exploratory conversations, connecting with buyers, doing your buyer persona research, doing our interview strategy, doing all of the strategies that we teach and recommend to connect with high probability buyers. And then once you start getting some checks in the door and you're getting that first $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 worth of checks, then we decide how busy do you want to be and how much money do you want to make. And then we can add some scaling strategies, some leverage strategies, and that taken together, you have your in-house game in order, you have your marketing and sales and market-facing activities, sales activities in order, you've got some scalability things in your back pocket, so you're not on the gig-to-gig hamster wheel, you're not exhausting yourself. That is a successful speaking-driven business. And that's what we do with our clients all the time. Now, you may be shopping around, or you may have already experienced some kinds of programs that promise you the moon and kind of under-deliver and miss the mark in one way or another. If you're looking for help, here are some questions to ask. How can you tell the great mentors from the goofballs? Remember, I talked about the missing, funky, broken, upside-down advice. We talked about the Forbes column. We talked about that guy that says, speak for free, anywhere, anytime, for any fee. And he spent his first year like making $42,000, which is crazy. We've had clients make $42,000 a month, and that guy's making $42,000 in his first year, banging around the universe, speaking for free like a peddler. So how can you tell? How do you separate the wheat from the chaff? First question, are they getting results? Second question, are their clients getting results? And I just showed you dozen plus success story after success story after success story, and we get these every single week. I wish I could do an entire webinar on just client success stories, but that might not be all that valuable to you. Do they have all three things that we talked about? The step-by-step system, the mindset coaching to get you out of the small potatoes thinking and the small potatoes doing, and the radical accountability for results. Because without all three of those things, nothing like this is going to work. Fourth question I would ask, has this been working for a long time? Or is this person new on the scene, flash in the pan, promising the moon and under-delivering? Is this appropriate for a wide variety of speakers? So there's a lot of college speakers teaching college speakers, right? There's a lot of magicians and illusionists teaching other magicians and illusionists, but that doesn't work for a business speaker. That doesn't work for a corporate speaker. That doesn't work for an association speaker. So is the training and mentoring relevant that you're getting? And do they provide support that is world-class? Is it a team approach, or are you dealing with a single shingle entrepreneur who might answer your questions in some spare time between flights, or, you know, when he's not playing video games in his basement? So now you have a choice, my friends. You can keep going the old way with old results, slow, difficult, you know, play the guru or the coach of the month club, which I know I've been in that early on, always seeking, always looking for the right answer. Keep being confused, lazy, treading water, doing okay, not wanting to really ramp things up, still not earning what you deserve. Kind of feels like that gig-to-gig hamster wheel that we talked about. Worst of all, with no guidance, no accountability, no support, this can be a hard, lonely road. And I know it can be a hard, lonely road. The other option is that can all end today when you book a call with our team at doitmarketing.com/apply. doitmarketing.com/apply. We're offering some strategy sessions to some good speakers, some folks that resonate with what we talked about here today. And we're going to help you take a good look at everything that's going on in your speaking, training, coaching, or consulting business. We're going to look at what needs to be fixed and improved with everything that we talked about today. Your messaging, your packaging, the positioning challenges, the pricing challenges, what you're doing with marketing, what you're doing with outreach and prospecting, what you're doing with sales. We're going to fill in what's missing for you to consistently get clients that you love and finally earn what you deserve. And Morgan, I think you've already popped this into the chat window, so you guys want that clickable link. Morgan has that in the chat window for you. And as that's happening, let me tell you who these calls are really designed to help. So this is specifically for you if you are serious, decisive, and committed to making your business profitable or more profitable over the next 60 days. And I'll tell you, whether you are just on the starting cusp of this and you're what we call kind of that level 1 speaker that I mentioned, whether you're that mid-career speaker who's on track 2, or whether you're that seasoned pro who's on track 3 and you're pivoting, rebooting, reimagining, or reinventing your speaking-driven business, this call is going to be very, very helpful for you. Whether you've got your niche or message completely nailed down or not, whether you're in it full-time or planning your escape, planning your corporate escape, we've got some fantastic people still in the day job. The thinking is dig your well before you're thirsty, and we can help you make that launch very smooth and as low risk as possible. Whether you've gotten a few paid speaking engagements or a whole lot. And like I said before, we've worked with folks at every end of the spectrum, from fresh off the boat all the way to the National Speakers Association Speaker Hall of Fame, and everyone in between. So if you're willing to follow a proven process to ramp up your revenue, and if you're coachable, if you take mentorship and direction well, this call is for you. And finally, if you're serious and you want to put another 10 to 20K in your pocket over the next 60 to 90 days, as you saw with our success story after success story after success story after success story, this is what we do. This is what we do. And after that, imagine having a predictable flow of clients and cash where you're generating an additional $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 per month, month after month and year after year for the rest of your professional career. That is our goal for you. So that's at doitmarketing.com/apply. That's where to apply for your call. I think we have two slots this afternoon and a little bit more tomorrow and the next day. So there's not a lot of these to go around. Here's why we're doing this. On the call, we're going to help you get total clarity about exactly what you want your business to look like and the exact steps that you should take to achieve your goals. If you want our help, and if we think it's a good fit, we may invite you to work with us and we may not. Either way, it's going to be the most valuable 45 minutes that you'll invest to grow your speaking-driven business and help you get results. So here's what it looks like. When you click on that link for doitmarketing.com/apply, you're going to go to a page that looks like this. You're going to choose your time zone, then choose your time out of the available slots. And I think there's, again, a few available today, a few available tomorrow. Next step, it's going to go to a prep form, this questionnaire. Please fill out this questionnaire in as detailed a way as you can, simply so that we can hit the ground running and help you with your exact situation, exactly where you are, and help you get exactly where you want to go and create that roadmap and create that path and that plan for you. So the more thorough and complete you are on this form, the more value you will get out of your strategy session. So that's what that looks like. We're about to go our Q&A. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about today's training and today's teaching. If you're interested in a rapid breakthrough and you want to grab one of these strategy sessions, you want to apply for one of these strategy sessions to see how we can help you further, that link is doitmarketing.com/apply. That's going to remain open as we launch into our Q&A. And if you have a question, this would be a fantastic time to pop it into the question box. I saw some questions fly by earlier, but we've got so many folks on the call. I apologize. If you asked the question before and I did not get to it, just retype it so it's at the top of the queue, and I'm going to look through these questions, and then we will get going. All right. So let's see. So a question coming in about how long does this really take to get up and running? So great question. I wish I had an easy answer like, oh, it's magic. It's a magic program, folks. Magic. Well, it's not a magic program. And the reason that question is tough to answer is everyone comes into this program with different levels of experience, different assets, different experiences, different levels of sophistication. If you're starting from square zero, it might take you 6 or 8 weeks to get up and running and start making, start having sales conversations, start doing outreach, start doing a really good job of your business development activities. We've had folks that have made money in week 1. So the folks that have made money in week 1 are going to be that, maybe on the more advanced side of the emerging speaker or a mid-career speaker who needed to dial some things in. And so you've seen some examples, right? So I showed you the testimonials, I showed you John, I showed you Susan, I showed you Steve, I showed you all these people. They were coming in at different levels of sophistication, different levels of experience, different levels of, having different things in their toolkit ready to go on day 1. Depending on what you have, and I'll give you a real answer here in a minute after I take a drink. Let's assume you have nothing. And not many of our people have nothing, but let's assume you have nothing. First 4 weeks, build the infrastructure. Next 4 weeks, prospect research. By that third 4 weeks, week 9, 10, 11, 12, you're having sales conversations, you're booking gigs, you're making money. If you're not making money during this mentorship program, it's because you're not doing the work. We have not had anyone come through the program, connect all the dots, generate the revenue. And again, you saw this with Steve and Susan and Tony and John and all the success stories I shared with you. If you do the work, you are way more likely to get the results. One of my favorite sayings that some of you guys may have heard before is, it's amazing the results you do not get from the work you do not do. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Let's see. Michael's got a question. On your website, you list multiple media mentions that shows credibility. Should I focus on being featured in the media? So I'll tell you what, media without money is useless. It's nice to have media, but media on the website doesn't pay the bills. So I was already running a $500,000-$600,000 speaking and training business before I focused on media. And right now we're running a multi-seven-figure business right now, and I've actually stopped focusing on media because I've now started to refocus back on serving our clients better and higher and improving the program. And once you're mentioned in Forbes, Fortune, Fast Company, the New York Times, Selling Power, Entrepreneur Magazine, Investors Business Daily, all those media mentions that you talk about, once you're mentioned in there once, you don't need to be mentioned again. That is not a lead generating strategy. That is not a sales strategy. So Michael, what I would encourage you to do is book a call at doitmarketing.com/apply, and let's help you sort through what's a marketing and sales strategy, what's a checks in the door strategy, and when and where and how and if a PR strategy would make sense for you. So that's what I would recommend for that question. Lucia, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What a great name. Lucia or Lucia Belafonte. That is a beautiful name. That just rolls right off the tongue. So how do you help with determining my niche, my solution, if I don't already know what it is? Well, so fantastic, right? How does any coach or any mentor help you with something that you don't know? We ask questions, we probe, we dig, we figure out what needs to happen, where, how, and when, and then we make that happen. We make that happen together. So that is a questioning strategy. That is one of the best uses, actually, of the strategy session. So Lucia, I would recommend that you pop over to doitmarketing.com/apply, and let's do that for you. Let's help you at least identify some possible paths to identifying your niche and your target market. We might not come to a final answer, but we'll at least open your eyes to some possibilities and see what makes sense. We'll see what makes sense and kind of where some low-hanging fruit and some easy wins might be. So Lucia just typed in, yes, I'm going to do that, which is great, fantastic, great, will do. All right, terrific. How many hours a week does this mentoring take? Wow, great question. Taking another sip. This question always kind of rubs me the wrong way. Because, well, if this is your business, if this is how you make money, this is your livelihood, well, how many hours do you have? I would say you should probably be putting 50 or 60 hours in if it's your main livelihood and your main business. Good news, it's not going to be 50 or 60 hours. We've got 2 mentoring sessions a week. They run between 90 minutes and 2 hours. So that's 4 hours. I would say to implement the assignments and make the decisions and do the marketing language bank and get things dialed in with all the things we talked about today: marketing, messaging, articulation, distinction, prospect identification, prospect outreach, sales conversations, all of these things that you should be doing all the time anyway. I'm going to say that's between 10 and 12 hours a week total. 10 and 12 hours a week total. So, people have done this, like I said, people have done this with a full-time job, and they've done this, off hours, morning, night, on their lunch break. People have done this after they've run a fairly thriving business, and we've simply redirected their activities to much more productive, high value, high payoff activities that they were not doing, but that they're doing now. And you saw Tony Lucero's results, you saw Susan Robertson's results, you saw John Garrett's results, you saw all those things. These people are not working 60 hours a week. They're not grinding. They're not grinding to get those results. They are working finally in a low volume, and now listen to this, write this down somewhere, low volume, high relevance, high relationship outreach. That's what we're doing here. We're sharpening the messaging. We're getting more specific. We talked about specificity, value, and relevance today. So we're sharpening the messaging. We're sharpening and specifying the prospects who get it, need it, want it, and have an ability to pay for it. So we're finding prospects with money, prospects with budget, and we're having, between 5 and 10 conversations a week. We're having between 5 and 10 sales conversations a week. And out of that, we're closing maybe one opportunity. And that one opportunity pays between $5,000 and $10,000. So that's how the math breaks out. This is not, let's exhaust ourselves and do all the marketing monkey work. I have the slide there about the marketing monkey work. This is not about that. This is not about, do 100 cold calls a day like an idiot. This is smart, strategic, laser-focused marketing, sales, and business development. That's really what it's about. That is really what it's about. Lee's got a great question. What's your definition of the word marketing? So I'm not sure what the mode is behind that, but I'm happy to answer it. And then for you guys that are wondering, well, how many hours a week will this take for me, the previous question, let's book a call and let's see what you're doing now And it's very, very common that we have people that if we decide this is a good fit to work together, we invite you in and you end up getting better results with less time. You end up getting better results and generating more cash in the door by doing less work, not more work. So please don't let that myth of, oh my gosh, this will be 50 hours of work that you don't have time to do. It's not that. It's totally not that. So my definition of marketing is everything that you need to do to attract and connect with the right kind of buyer. And that is both inbound marketing and outbound marketing in both directions, right? Waiting by the phone to ring. Here's the other thing, Lee, and I think you have some expertise in this if I'm remembering you correctly. People that rely purely on inbound marketing end up doing that exhausting series of 100 different marketing jobs waiting to be found. And that is a hoping, guessing, and winging it strategy. So inbound marketing, as great as it is, and I do believe in some inbound marketing strategies, inbound marketing alone is not going to cut it. Inbound marketing by itself is not going to drive your business forward. So you need to have inbound marketing and outbound marketing. And then after that, after the initial connection and the initial outreach, then you have to have a world-class sales process. That's what we call a trusted advisor sales process. So you don't come across like a vendor, you don't come across like a peddler, you don't come across like a goofball, but you have a trusted advisor sales process that simply invites the right prospects to a conversation about how you can help them. And that help might take the form of small, medium, large, or supersize, or anywhere in between. But remember, you're not a professional speaker anymore, Lee. You're a professional problem solver. So if you want to dig more into that and how that applies to your business, I recommend go to doitmarketing.com/apply and let's talk, have a talk with the team about how that would manifest itself in your particular business and your exact situation. So it's doitmarketing.com/apply. And Bert says, thank you for the kick in the rear, David. You are very welcome, and I hope you have a chance to book a call, Bert, and hop on with someone on my team. We'd love to talk to you about how to operationalize some of these ideas and make them real and make them stick in your business when you go to doitmarketing.com/apply. Other questions? Anything else I can answer? I'm scrolling back here. I'm not seeing any other questions right now. If you have a question, I am all yours. Anything about today's teaching, anything about the 9 obstacles, anything about the 9 action steps that I shared with you about how to break through the obstacles, how else can I be of service to you? So Latina says, if my niche is helping girls increase their confidence, will I be able to make money? Well, it's a great question. Sometimes there is, the business that you think you're in is not the business that you think you're in. In other words, there's another application for that expertise in addition to helping girls increase their confidence. So, and we run into this all the time, Latina. We call this foreground, background confusion, where you think that the main business is actually not the main business, that's really the rocket fuel that drives you. That might be your passion. That might be where you came from. That might be your own story, but it's got much broader application, maybe in a nonprofit world, corporate world, healthcare world, association world, lots of different places that methodology, training, and tools that you've developed to help girls increase their confidence, that might be applicable to, I'm not saying leave that behind. I'm saying there may be a yes and. There may be a yes and strategy behind that you can do that and other things. You can do that and other things. So Latina, what I would do is hop on a call. I would go ahead and book a call because here's what happens on these calls. We figure out, and you tell us on that application form what you're up to. You tell us where you're having some stumbling blocks, where you're scratching your head. We get on the phone. We have a deep dive diagnostic conversation. What's working? What's not working? What needs to be optimized? What needs to be tuned up? Where can some improvements be made? And then we come to a good decision after that. If you'd like our help to implement the plan, we can talk about that. If not, we don't talk about that. No pressure either way. But this is a perfect example of here's my topic, is this marketable? Or here's my topic, how else can this be marketable? or here's my sales strategy. This isn't working. Can you guys help me tune it up or just kind of see what I'm doing wrong? So it really is a diagnostic conversation about where you are versus where you want to be, and kind of dialing in a couple of things. Maybe it's only a 5 or 10 or 15% shift that you need to make. And on that strategy call, we will help you make it. So it's doitmarketing.com/apply is where to pop in and get going on that. All right. Well, I think that is, so Tina says, thank you. And I'm saying, you're welcome. Fantastic questions, guys. Thank you so much. Again, looking forward to seeing you on a breakthrough call with the team. Then we'll take it to the next step if there is a next step for us. Can't wait to see you next time. That link is still active. That link is still open right now. doitmarketing.com/apply, and we'll see you on your breakthrough call. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.